Hey, it's Miss Landis again. I'm here to talk to you about percent of change today. Again, if you're in my classroom, you may have gotten this worksheet. You can go ahead and cut that out and you'll paste it into your notes, or you can just take notes in your notebook. You need to have these. If you're not in my classroom and you're just doing a little bit of review for percent of change, let's get to it. Okay, first thing you need to understand is what is percent of change. It's the extent to which a value increases or decreases. To understand how to find the percent of change, you also need to know how to change a fraction to a percent. So I'm going to show you the way I've always done it. If you know a better way, please share. So I always divide. This top number always goes on the inside of the box. Always, always, always. Bottom number comes outside. Now you're going to end up with a decimal. The decimal then will turn into the percent. So watch how I do this. 8 cannot go into 3, so it's a 0. I put my decimal there, I put it there, and then I add a 0. So now I have, does 8 go into 30? It can go into 30 3 times, which is 24. That's 6. I'm going to add an extra 0 here, bring it down. Now I have 60. 8 goes into 60 7 times. That's 56. Now I have 4. Add another 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. It goes in nice and even. So now I have 0.375. So now to turn that into a percent, you move the decimal two places to the right. Okay? So I moved it 2 places to the right, so now my percent is 37.5%. I'm done. There's my percent. Okay? I want you to try this one with me. As I'm talking through it, think through it. Think about what would you do. First of all, I'm going to do division. My top number goes inside. And then my bottom number's on the outside. Obviously, can 15 go into 12? No. It's a 0. My decimal there, my decimal there. Looks like I need to extend my line here just a little bit. Add a 0. 15 can go into 129 times, 8 times. I think 8. Let's try 8. So it's 40, carrying my 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. Look at that. That's beautiful. So it's done. So I know that it equals 0.8. I still have to change that into a percent. So now I have to take this and move it 2 places to the right. Well, I have this big empty space here, so I just add a 0. Because of room, I'm going to put an arrow here. So that gives me 80%. All right, it's your turn. We're going to go ahead and pause the video for a minute, and I want you to try this one. Okay, as you can see, 11 over 200. Put the 11 on the inside of that box. Had to add some extra zeros because 200 can't go into 11. 200 cannot go into 110, but it can go into 1100. That gave me 0.055. Move my decimal 2 places to the right, so it's 5.5%. I hope you got that. If you didn't, check your work, compare it to mine. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so before we move on, On the 12/15ths over here, I made a mistake. It's supposed to be 12/25 if you're doing the worksheet. So just change on the worksheet to 12/15ths. All right, now we're gonna go to a step-by-step how to actually find the percent of change. So let's take a look at this. Ashley earned $20 babysitting in January. In February, she earned $32. What is the percent change in her earnings? So the first thing you want to do is find the difference. What's that talking about? Find the difference in the amounts. So just like any story problem, I underline the important stuff, which is the numbers. So I'm going to use the underlined numbers to find the difference. 32 minus 20 is 12. So there was a $12 difference from January to February. Once we find the difference, we're going to set up the ratio. If you'd seen my previous video, then this should be pretty easy. So I'm going to set it up as the difference over the starting amount. Not the new amount, not the higher amount, the starting amount. A lot of my students make that mistake. Make sure you write this, you circle it, you do something so that you never forget it, whatever it's going to take for you to remember that. Difference over starting amount. So my difference was 12. My starting amount in January was 20. Okay? So now I have a 12/20. At this time, I can change a fraction to a percent by dividing, or I can set it up as a proportion, either one. So I'm going to, since we just looked at changing fraction to a percent, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 12/20. I'm going to divide it out. I'll do some work. Let me get a little darker over here. So my camera woman will follow me. I'm going to put the 12 inside because that's the top number. The bottom number goes outside. Obviously 20 cannot go into 12, so I have 0. Decimal point, add a 0. Great news, this is going to be an easy one. 20 can go into 120 6 times. So, coming back over here, 0.6. But it's not a percent yet because we have to move the decimal 1, 2 places to the right. So it's 60% change. So then we have to decide, was the percent an increase or a decrease? So she went from $20 babysitting to $32 babysitting. So it's going to be an increase. Okay, so now you're going to do one on your own. So you're going to take time, you're going to pause, and you're going to solve this problem. Jim bought a car for $8,500. He sold his car 5 years later for $5,000. What is the percent of change in the cost of his car? Okay, so hopefully you've set this up by following those steps. Step 1 was to find the difference. 8,500 minus 5,000 was 3,500. Then you take the difference over the original amount. When I divide that out, it becomes a really long decimal. Notice I put the word stop. You can go ahead and stop because you're looking for a percent and you round to the nearest percent. So the actual decimal was 0.41176 and some other numbers. I went ahead and stopped at 0.411 because I can see that this 1 isn't going to change this 1. So I've got 0.411, move my decimal 2 places to the left, it gives me 41%. The question is it an increase or decrease? It would be a decrease. All right, hopefully you guys learned something today. Come tomorrow with questions or go ahead and email me some questions. I'll see you next time.